So today I go over some of your Geometry Dash predictions. Predictions about the demons list, predictions about future top 1s, but not all of them are 2.2 predictions. There were a lot of them, but I tried to balance it out a little bit with like literally everything else. I will give it a score from 1 to 5, 1 being the least and 5 being the most likely. I personally think it will actually come true, and explain a bit why. So without further ado, let's get into it. First off, Detroit Circles will get raided. For the 90 million people who don't know, Detroit Circles is a dumb joke mega collab I hosted. It's a horribly balanced hard demon because you can't have good balancing in Detroit. I say it's not likely at all, probably a 1 out of 5. Because even if it hypothetically got a send and it was actually voted to be sent to RobTob, I just don't think it would work. It's a 9 circles level, so that's already not a good thing. It's not like the quality is the most consistent thing, and the theming isn't consistent at all either. It was literally just a joke level that I threw together in like 2 weeks. Zoink will verify Acheron on September 11th, 2022. I'd say this is probably a 2 out of 5 on how likely I think it is. Because September 11th this year is actually a Sunday, so it is possible that if Zoink is playing more on the weekends, it is more likely he would verify it on September 11th. And as funny as that would be, I think it's probably more likely that he'll just crash during a ship part towards the end of the level. Once 2.2 will come out, many extremes will be placed higher than where they're supposed to because of how most people aren't used to the new mechanics 2.2 will have. And as we get more and more used to the mechanics, they will eventually be placed in the right place. If I'm not mistaken, I think 2.0 came out, and when 2.1 came out, this wasn't as much of a problem. But I think overall you might be right, it's just we've already had some time to figure out how Swingcopter would work. But I'd still say it has a 2 out of 5 chance. Standards at the beginning of 2.2 will absolutely plummet as people get used to using new features, and a year or two after 2.2 comes out, we'll all look back at the terrible use of new features like random triggers and camera controls. Also, I hope the next sneak peek has a release date, preferably this year, otherwise I owe my friend £10. So assuming you mean currency and not drugs, you're probably going to lose the bet because I just doubt that RobTob will actually give a release date in a sneak peek because he has said before that he doesn't want to, because given the history of him promising 2.2 release dates, it might just be a better idea for him to just, not. So I'd say the release date during Sneak Peek 2 is probably like a 1 or 2 out of 5 in terms of how probable it is. However, the standards plummeting at the beginning of 2.2 is very likely. I'd say that's definitely like a 5 out of 5 in my opinion. Detroit Circles gets featured and the Wavix house will be finished. They're both masterpieces. There is no way Detroit Circles is going to get featured or rated, but I think the Wavix house collab is close to being finished. I can't remember, I have to check with G-Thumb again. So the first part, freaking negative 80 out of 5, and the second would be solid 4 out of 5. It's going to take at least 3 to 4 months before people start getting good with all the new insane editor tools and items. I know it's going to take me quite a bit. So when 2.2 comes out, I do think you'll be right because it'll take a few months. I don't know about 3 to 4 specifically, it might be longer than that. But I'd say overall it's definitely at least a 4 out of 5 in how likely I think it is because, I mean, this is definitely true, I just think it might be a different time range. Like, I think we as a community are going to take longer than that. Bloodlust will eventually fall off the extended list, Unnerved Sonic Clubstep will be verified, GD will develop a speedrunning scene thanks to platformer mode. So for Bloodlust falling into the legacy list, I'd say you're absolutely right. At the rate of just projects coming out now, there's no way Bloodlust is going to stay on the extended list forever, and as it gets lower and lower, it'll start falling faster and faster. So I think you're absolutely right, that's definitely a 5 out of 5. Unnerved Silent Clubstep will be verified, I'd say is decently likely, so at least 4 out of 5. I'm not sure if Cursed will be the one to do it, but I think at some point someone will. And then Geometry Dash developing a speedrunning scene is definitely a 5 out of 5. The second we get the Geometry Dash equivalent of Dream and Dream Stands, I'm going to die. I predict a lot of upcoming top 1s will not be finished after 2.2 comes out because creators won't want to update them with 2.2 features, but also don't want to publish them while they are dated. I think for some of the better ones, this is kind of sad, but ultimately the better and usually larger projects will definitely go on. But in some ways this could be a good thing if it did happen because it just kind of wipes the slate clean and we can maybe start with a new generation of upcoming top 1s that are actually good. But also because right now upcoming top 1s is like the thing that gets the most clicks, and my prediction is when 2.2 comes out, everything relating to 2.2 is just going to become much more popular. So I think a lot of the more shallow projects that are just kind of there for views will end up getting cancelled or just die out. And then a few years into 2.2 when we're starving for updates, they'll get picked up as old impossible levels again. Overall I'd say a 4 out of 5 in likelihood. Knowing the possible additions, 2.3 will take as long as 2.2 to make, regardless of what RobTob says. As I kind of just hinted earlier, honestly, I 100% agree with this. I don't think it'll take quite as long as 2.2, but there is no way it's going to happen in 6 months. My guess would be anywhere from 1 to 3 years. I don't think it'll take quite as long as 2.2, but it'll definitely take at least a year, in my opinion. As much as I hope this isn't the case, I think it probably will be, so it's probably a 4 out of 5. RAV will finally do really hard official demon. So if this is the case with explorers, I would definitely be very happy about it. I would assume you don't mean extreme demon, because I think having an extreme demon in one of the main levels is just kind of ridiculous. Honestly, I would want explorers to at most be like hard demon difficulty, but I'd say this is probably a 2 out of 5 in terms of likelihood, because I don't think Rob will make anything harder than a medium demon, because he did say he's not very good at the game, and also because, you know, accessibility reasons. You know, as funny as that would be to have a list-worthy level in just the main levels, I don't think it's going to happen. Slaughterhouse is the new Tartarus, and AOD/Scoop and Circles are the Golden and SWI. It will take until at least next year for it to be dethroned. I would say because of Acheron, and because Trick does think that Abyss of Darkness is harder, and he's currently beating Slaughterhouse, and he says, you know, that's top 2. I don't think Slaughterhouse will stay at number 1 for as long as Tartarus did. Could it last a few more months? Maybe. I'd say my prediction would be by the end of this year, we will at least have one more level that gets placed at number 1. Maybe get swapped with Slaughterhouse again, but at least one more level that'll get placed at number 1. Overall, I'd say it's probably like a 2 out of 5 and how likely it would be. Novelboy's next video will be the Orochi verification, and him revealing that he's secretly grinding the level all these times. Ultra Mega Cope. Honestly, same. I really wish this was a 5 out of 5 and that this was exactly what was going on, because Orochi's a really cool level to me. In terms of how likely I actually think it is, negative 6.7 out of 5, there's just no way. Viperin will never get surpassed in creator points. And you're wrong, because I think Carmel, if he really wanted to, could just make a bunch of copy and paste levels and get a bunch of creator points. I'd say this probably has a 4 out of 5 chance of staying the case. Greens of Sand won't be a mainless level if it would get rated. First off, I don't think it's going to get rated. I don't personally think it's rate-worthy. If it is rated, I'm not going to whine about it, though. I don't really care. I think either it was hacked or it's not top 1, because there's no way someone just beat it that quickly. A future top player just beat Cycles. I think the concept as a whole of just a future top player beating some of their first levels now is definitely, to some extent, true. Cycles specifically, I don't know for sure, but I'd say it's a solid 4 out of 5. Acheron will be the next top 1 to be verified, but still end up below Slaughterhouse. Yep, 67 out of 5, there's no way this isn't exactly what's going to happen. Zoinker Helix will verify it, and then it just immediately gets swapped in like a month. Or it's just placed at number 2, I don't know, we'll see. Return Zero will be the next Misanthrope. I really hope not, because Misanthrope is a really cool idea that I think has kind of just really died, because there's the layout that's public, but it doesn't seem like the decoration's going anywhere. There's this cool fan-made decoration project that I think does it a lot better than the official hell themes that are used in the official deco. So I hope Return Zero doesn't end up like that, but I do think that it is possible it could end up being a sort of New Age Impossible level. But I'd say this has a maybe 2 out of 5 chance of happening. Tartarus will fall out of the top 50 in 3 years from now. So like if we look at Bloodlust, roughly 4.5 years ago, it was top 1, and now it's just out of the top 40. But at the same time, I feel like the list is going to start moving faster, so I think you might actually be right about this one. I'd say it's probably got like a 3 out of 5 chance of happening. I predict that a Geometry Dash video will come out with my prediction in it. Well, you were right. I just got some Roko's Basilisk vibes from that. I think that the Fitness Gram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. The 20-meter pacer test will begin in 30 seconds. Line up at the start. The running speed starts slowly, but gets faster each minute you hear the signal. Beep. A single lap should be completed each time you hear this sound. Ding. Remember to run in a straight line and run as long as possible. The second time you fail to complete a lap before the sound, your test is over. The test will begin on the word start. On your mark. Get ready. Start.